So that takes us to Indiana, which I think everyone agrees right now has gone from, a team that made the playoffs last year, lost in the first round. They were building all these young pieces, of course, Caitlin Clark, to now an immediate contender with all the moves that they've made.
You thought Sue Bird was going to sugarcoat it? Not a chance. She took one look at the Indiana Fever's title hype and said, "Let's pump the brakes, people." But don't get it twisted. She wasn't dismissing them. She was setting the record straight. Caitlin Clark's got the skills, no doubt. But rings aren't won on Twitter or by dancing on TikTok. Yeah, Angel Reese, we're looking right at you.
I think Natasha Howard certainly stands out. I loved playing with Tosh.
But you cannot say enough
about Tosh. I really enjoyed playing with her. I think she really is she's just this glue player that doesn't get enough shine for what she does, because a lot of what she does doesn't show up in the box score, but she just is like always in the right place at the right time. And a player like that, I think, complements what Indiana is building.
But here's where it gets spicy. Sue didn't hold back. She didn't play it safe with some generic, "the Fever might be good" take. No, she went all in. Sue Bird, the walking, talking basketball encyclopedia, the woman with more championships than Angel Reese has made layups this season, straight up said the Indiana Fever are real title contenders.
They obviously, through trade, added Sophie Cunningham, a player that, I would say a 3-and-D type player who has, been to the finals, so has that playoff experience. She's also just tough. She's mentally tough. She's physically tough. She brings an edge to them. And then last but not least, they added Dewana Bonner, which really I think is the one that for most people took it to another level. So now you're like, oh, they're a contender.
Let that marinate for a second. Sue Bird isn't just any retired player throwing hot takes for clout. This is a 4-time WNBA champion, 5-time Olympic gold medalist, and one of the smartest basketball minds to ever touch the hardwood. She's played against legends, led dynasties, and knows exactly what it takes to win at the highest level. When Sue speaks, it's not for clicks. It's because she sees something everyone else is missing.
So Sue Bird is one of the greatest point guards of all time in the WNBA. And she's someone who obviously is a part owner in the Seattle Storm. So hyping up another team is a bit of a conflict of interest, if we're being honest.
And here's the thing. She's not just talking about Caitlin Clark. Sure, Clark's a generational talent, pulling up from the parking lot like it's nothing, breaking records like it's her side hustle. But if you think Sue's hyped just because of Caitlin, you clearly don't understand how her basketball brain works. Sue sees the bigger picture. She sees the foundation, a team that's been grinding, putting in the work even before Clark even signed that rookie contract. Imagine those seasons with barely any crowds that Kelsey Mitchell, Lexi Hull, and Aaliyah Boston endured. But since Clark's arrival, that spark turned into a wildfire.
To you about the experience, the champions that have been added to this one.
Yeah, I think that's kind of what everybody talked about when we were in the playoffs last year of, we really didn't have much experience at all playing in playoff games. I don't know what the exact number was, but we really lacked in that area. So just adding pieces of, players that have been in this league, they know what it takes to win. They know what it takes to get to the finals. They know what it takes to win championships. I think it's exactly what we needed in our locker room. So it's just exciting, but also they're not only really good basketball players, they're really great leaders and really great people. And I know the front office obviously really prioritized that and looking for the pieces that we wanted to add. So really thankful for that as well.
Sue Bird doesn't throw around title contender like it's confetti. This is a woman whose entire career was built on smart decisions, on the court, off the court, with her words, with her passes. If she's telling the world that the Indiana Fever have something special, she's not guessing. She's warning you.
The biggest part of DB joining this team is that she's already played for Steph. So I think that's going to help bridge the gap, because as we go along, we're going to talk about Vegas and Seattle, Atlanta. It's really going to be which
Stephanie
team.
White being the head coach of,
right.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah. Thank you.
Was the head coach of Connecticut, now the head coach of Indiana.
Yeah. So it's really going to be the team that finds their chemistry. This season is short. I mean, they're adding games, but it's still pretty short season.
Short, yeah, still short.
And it's going to be the team that finds chemistry. So having Stephanie White there, having already coached DB, really does help.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, nothing's guaranteed. No one's handing out championships in February. But here's the part people are missing. Indiana isn't just a fun young team anymore. They're not here to develop. They're here to win. And that should terrify the rest of the league, because the scariest thing in sports isn't just talent. It's talent mixed with belief. It's a team with momentum. It's players who've been told, "You're not ready yet," and who respond with, "Actually, we are." Sue Bird sees that belief brewing in Indiana. She recognizes it because she's lived it. She knows exactly how dangerous it can be.
Kelsey Mitchell's balling, Caitlin continuing to impress, and she's going to break records nonstop for the next couple years.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a constant record break.
Now let's talk about Cheryl Swoops because, oh boy, that hot take she dropped about real talent, never choosing Indiana, is aging like milk left out in the sun. In fact, it's starting to look like one of those cold takes that ends up on compilation reels with dramatic violin music playing in the background. You know the type. "This didn't age well," written all over it. Because, against all odds, and against Swoops' entire thesis, players are choosing Indiana. Not reluctantly, not as a last resort. They want to be there. And why? It's about Caitlin Clark.
Indiana Fever team.
They getting paid in what?
That are like, no, but players who will be free agents next year. There's a lot of other going on that players are like, this ain't where I want to be.
Yeah, you heard me. She's the headline act, the box office draw. The reason Indiana Fever jerseys are flying off the shelves and ticket sales are skyrocketing. Indiana isn't some forgotten, struggling franchise anymore. This isn't the WNBA version of a pity party. They're building something real. And when someone like Sue Bird says, "Hey, this team is about to be a serious problem," you better believe players across the league are listening. Because Sue isn't just out here handing out compliments like participation trophies. She's not on TV for shock value. When she speaks, it's because she sees something. And what she sees in Indiana isn't just potential. It's a team that's not sitting around waiting for success to magically show up. They're hunting it down.
And yeah, there's a narrative out there that Kathy made the call. All right, Kathy Engelbert. Oh, we got to make sure we get Caitlin Clark the championship. And I told you there's narrative floating. Number one, they're freaking out. Number two, the next thing you're about to hear is Caitlin Clark needs a super team to win a championship. So they're going to downgrade her status, and they're going to shit on her over that. It's already started. That's where they're going with this, folks.
Look at the moves. This isn't some Cinderella story where they're banking on Caitlin Clark to be their fairy godmother and magically fix everything with a three-pointer. They've been stacking up real pieces that make basketball sense. Every signing, every trade, every draft pick has been part of a plan. A blueprint designed to let Caitlin Clark express her talent without carrying the entire franchise on her back. Let's talk about free agency for a second because this is where it gets juicy. Suddenly, Indiana isn't just a place players go to get some minutes and pad their stats. It's a destination, a place where you can actually win. A place where you'll be playing on national TV, in front of packed arenas, with a fan base that's growing faster than Angel Reese's list of excuses. And most importantly, you get to play alongside a young core that's only getting better.
There's something about the way she plays the game, her passing, her shooting, that people really identify with. I really feel like we're poised and we're set up for a great, successful next era of Fever basketball.
That's what Sue Bird recognizes. That's why she's been loud about it. She sees what's coming. And the funniest part? A lot of people refuse to see it until it smacked them right in the face. Indiana went from being a WNBA afterthought to one of the most talked about teams in the league. And not just because of hype, not just because of flashy headlines or social media buzz, because of actual basketball reasons. Sue Bird sees the trajectory. She sees a team that's not just hoping to be great, but actually putting in the work to be great. And for anyone still doubting the Fever, still clinging to the outdated narrative that Indiana isn't a destination, well, it's time to rewrite that script.
What do you mean Sydney Colson is joining the Indiana Fever? What does that mean? Indiana is just being so greedy right now. They took DB, they took Natasha. Now they got Sydney Colson. Like, why would they take Sydney from us?
But here's where it gets even more interesting. Sue Bird isn't just looking at the roster. She's looking at the blueprint, the foundation, the system that's being built behind the scenes. And one thing she sees that a lot of people are overlooking? Stephanie White.
The future is so bright, and our ultimate goal is to hang another banner in the field house. And our ultimate goal is to come back in here after we win that championship and celebrate again like we did in 2012.
Yeah, Stephanie White isn't just some random coach they picked off the available candidates list. This isn't a let's see if it works situation. Stephanie White is the perfect coach for this moment. She's been here before. She knows how to handle talent. She knows how to manage expectations. And most importantly, she knows how to win. And let's not forget, she's already coached DeWanna Bonner before. That chemistry, already built. She knows exactly how to get the best out of Bonner, how to fit her into a system, and how to make sure she complements the weapons Indiana already has. That's not just coaching, that's leadership. And Stephanie White just made a masterstroke.
What does Bonner's addition now mean for the Fever's title potential?
I think the Indiana Fever, with the addition of DeWanna Bonner after already adding Natasha Howard and Sophie Cunningham, are now in the championship conversation, along with the New York Liberty, the Minnesota Lynx, and the Las Vegas Aces.
Let's talk about Bonner for a second because this isn't just some veteran signing to boost morale. Bonner is a problem, a walking mismatch. A bucket and a defensive stopper rolled into one, and one of the all-time greats in WNBA history. She's versatile, experienced, and still has defenders waking up in cold sweats. Having her step into this Fever team with a coach who knows how to unleash her potential? Pair that with Caitlin Clark's gravity on the floor, and suddenly the Indiana Fever aren't just in the title conversation, they're looking to dominate it. The Indiana Fever's title chase isn't a fantasy anymore. It's becoming a reality.
The Fever, if you haven't been paying attention, they are really active in ensuring that Caitlin Clark and company have a true contending lineup next season. They have Caitlin Clark, they have Aaliyah Boston, they made sure that they re-signed Kelsey Mitchell. That was a big one. They acquired both Natasha Howard and DeWanna Bonner. They traded for Sophie Cunningham. They still have Lexi Hull. And now they have made a move that is literally my favorite of WNBA free agency. They have signed Sydney Colson, face of the WNBA. If you know, you know.
While the rest of the league scrambles to figure out rotations, Indiana already has the blueprint. They're not just stacking talent. They're crafting a team with purpose, chemistry, and a hunger to win. Caitlin Clark isn't just a rookie stepping into a professional league. She's the catalyst transforming Indiana from an underdog to a legitimate powerhouse. And that's what Sue Bird sees. Not just potential, but a well-oiled machine in the making. Let's break this down further because some people still don't get it. Caitlin Clark isn't just bringing her elite scoring ability to Indiana. She's bringing a mindset. This is a player who thrives under pressure, who's faced packed arenas, deafening crowds, and still can drop 40 points like it's a casual shoot-around. She's a leader, not just in points, but in presence. When Clark steps on the court, her confidence is infectious. Her teammates feel it, the fans feed off it, and the opponents, they feel the pressure.
And Sophie Cunningham she is there to be basically the enforcer. She played a lot of the 5 at Phoenix. She literally played 1 through 5. She guarded 1 through 5 at Phoenix. There is maybe a not more versatile glue player in the WNBA than Sophie Cunningham. There are better players, there are more versatile players, but no more versatile glue players than 100K a year than Cunningham. She's almost a one of a kind in what she does.
And this isn't just about Clark's ability to score from the logo, it's about how she elevates everyone around her. Aaliyah Boston, an absolute force in the paint, now has a guard who can draw defenders out, creating more space for her to dominate inside. That inside-out duo, it's a nightmare for defenses. Kelsey Mitchell and Lexi Hull can cut to the basket with ease with the gravity Clark is generating. You can't double any of them without leaving the other wide open. Add DeWanna Bonner's veteran savvy, Natasha Howard's defensive grit, and Sophie Cunningham's sharpshooting, and you've got a team that can beat you in every way imaginable. Guard Clark straight up and she will blow past you. Double or trap her, and she will pick you apart with her elite court vision and passing.
Colson from the Aces. She is 100% vibes. She is 100% going to be a backup for Caitlin. It's going to be fantastic backup for Kelsey. Like, she is a great addition to this backcourt. She has senior leadership. She has championship experience. She is the most fun ever. And Stephanie White and the Indiana Fever front office is not messing around. They are putting everything in place to make sure that this year is a championship caliber team, and every addition it gets better and better and better.
But what really sets Indiana apart is their culture shift. This isn't the same team from a few years ago, struggling to find their identity. No, this team knows exactly who they are. They're resilient, scrappy, and unapologetically hungry for wins. They've embraced the target on their back because when you have a player like Caitlin Clark, every game feels like a championship game. Every team wants to beat you. Every crowd wants to see you fall. And that's exactly the kind of pressure Clark thrives under.
Colson is going to the Indiana Fever. I don't think anyone saw this in the cards, literally. I personally feel like it's a good pickup. I think it's a well upgrade over Erica Wheeler. No shade to her. A lot of people are like surprised as to why she didn't stay in Vegas. And in all honesty, there's a lot of reasons why she may feel called to leave the Aces.
Sue Bird recognizes this because she's been there. She knows what it's like to carry expectations, to be the face of a franchise, to have every move dissected by the media. And she sees that same fire in Caitlin Clark. But here's the twist. Clark isn't just living up to the hype, she's redefining it. She's not here to be the next Sue Bird or Diana Taurasi. She's here to be the first Caitlin Clark. And let's not ignore the elephant in the room, the haters. The ones who claimed Clark couldn't handle the physicality of the WNBA. The ones who said Indiana wasn't a destination franchise. The Cheryl Swoops of the world, clinging to outdated narratives because they can't accept that the game has evolved. And it's evolved without their permission. They're watching the torch being passed, and instead of celebrating it, they're bitter because it wasn't handed to them.
Are you in a position where you can add some pieces?
Yes, we are. We're definitely in a position. And I would think that if you are a smart basketball player and you watch the way she plays, you would want to play with her.
A'ja Wilson? She's feeling the heat too. She's no longer the undisputed face of the league, and you can see it in her passive-aggressive social media posts, in her thinly veiled jabs during interviews. The WNBA is shifting, and Caitlin Clark is the epicenter of that shift. Clark didn't ask for the crown. She earned it through hard work, insane performances, and the kind of leadership you can't fake. And then there's Angel Reese, still out here acting like she's still in an imaginary college rivalry, not realizing she's playing a supporting role in the Caitlin Clark show. Reese can talk all she wants about being that girl, but the numbers don't lie. Clark's jersey retirement pulled in more viewers than Reese's actual games. That's not shade, that's just facts.
I see a lot of players wanting to go, in this offseason, a lot of players are going to want to go to the Fever.
But what really makes this Indiana team scary isn't just their roster or their star power. It's their mindset. They're not satisfied with just being competitive. They want rings. They want banners. They want to be the team that everyone talks about, not just because of one player, but because they're undeniable. So to all the doubters, the haters, and the so-called experts who thought Indiana was just a flash in the pan, Sue Bird sees you, and she's here to tell you that you're wrong. This isn't hype. This is history in the making. The Indiana Fever are here, and they're not going anywhere. And if you're not on board now, don't bother jumping on the bandwagon later. Because when Caitlin Clark hoists that MVP trophy, when the Fever are cutting down nets, and when Sue Bird's words are replayed as prophetic, just remember, you heard it here first. The future of the WNBA runs through Indiana, and Caitlin Clark is driving the bus. Are you excited? Let us know in the comments. Like, subscribe, and turn on all notifications so you never miss out. Click the video on the screen, and we will see you in the next one.